Close your eyes. Listen to my voice. You are standing in an ancient Egyptian workshop just before dawn, when the world is still blue and quiet, and the first birds have not yet decided whether morning is real. The air is cool against your skin. It smells of linen, old wood, lamp oil, river clay, and the faint sweetness of dried lotus petals kept in a small painted bowl near the wall. Somewhere beyond the temple court, the Nile moves in darkness, slow and patient, carrying reflections that have not yet become gold. Before you is a woman seated at a loom. At first, she seems ordinary, not royal, not dressed like a queen, not surrounded by priests or musicians or incense bearers. She sits alone in the half-light, with her back straight, her hands calm, and her eyes lowered toward the threads. She has warm bronze skin, softly touched by the glow of one oil lamp. Her hair is black, braided neatly, with a few loose strands resting near her cheek. Around her neck, she wears a small amulet, simple but beautiful. Crossed arrows worked in gold over a tiny shield of blue-green faience. The amulet catches the lamplight whenever she breathes. In front of her, the loom rises like a wooden doorway. Threads hang from it in long, pale lines, close together, silent and waiting. Some are white as fresh linen. Some are faintly golden. Some are dyed with soft red, deep blue, and a green that reminds you of marsh plants after the flood. The woman lifts a shuttle. You hear the sound, a gentle click, then another click, thread over thread, click, thread under thread. Her hands move slowly enough for you to follow, but with such perfect confidence that the motion feels older than memory. She does not hurry. She does not force the pattern. She lets it appear. The workshop around her is painted with faded figures. Men and women in profile carry offerings across the walls. Blue lotuses open above red bands of pigment. Small birds stand forever between carved signs. The columns are worn, but still beautiful, their colors softened by time. Red ochre, blue, green, yellow, black, and white. A bowl of flax fiber rests beside her knee. A basket of finished thread sits near her feet. A little copper knife lies on a low table, not threatening, only useful, its edge catching a thin line of fire from the lamp. The woman looks up at you. Her face is not young and not old. belongs to someone who has seen many mornings and trusted none of them too quickly. Her eyes are dark and steady, lined with kohl, and there is something in her expression that feels both gentle and dangerous. Not cruel, never cruel, but dangerous in the way truth is dangerous. She gestures for you to sit, so you sit on a woven mat, close enough to hear the whisper of linen between her fingers, close enough to see the tiny scars on her hands, the roughness at her fingertips, the faint dusting of blue pigment near one thumb. She says nothing at first, only weaves. The silence becomes soft. You notice how the threads do not simply cross. They meet. They hold. One line alone would fall loose, but many lines, patient and disciplined, become cloth. The woman's hands teach this without speaking. After a while, she says, very quietly, "People think strength is only the arrow." Her voice is low, calm, almost like the sound of water moving beneath reeds. They forget the thread. The shuttle passes again. Click. She tells you that in ancient Egypt, linen touched every part of life. It clothed the living. It wrapped the dead. It covered divine images hidden in temple sanctuaries. It touched the skin of kings, priests, mothers, children, and those beginning the long journey into the West. A piece of linen could be simple. A piece of linen could be sacred. A veil could hide a god. A bandage could protect a soul. A garment could carry purity. A thread could hold a pattern no eye understood until the work was complete. The woman smiles slightly, but her smile is not soft enough to be harmless. Creation is not always gentle, she says. Sometimes order must be pulled tight. Her hand touches the little amulet at her throat. Crossed arrows, small shield, blue-green stone. For the first time, you notice the bow leaning against the wall behind her. It has been there all along. Polished wood, curved, silent, waiting. Beside it rests a quiver of arrows, each one straight, feathered, balanced. They do not disturb the peace of the room. Somehow they belong beside the loom. The bow and the shuttle feel like two halves of one thought. Aim and rhythm, protection and pattern, force and patience. The woman returns to her weaving, and the cloth begins to change. At first, you think it is only the lamp flickering, but then you see lines of gold appearing between the pale threads, not painted, not sewn, emerging, as if the linen itself remembers light. A pattern forms slowly, a shield, then crossed arrows, then flowing lines like water before creation, The room grows warmer. The painted birds on the columns seem almost ready to move. The lotus petals in the bowl tremble, though there is no wind. The lamp flame lengthens, becoming tall and still, like it is listening. The woman's face is calm, too calm. You understand, very slowly, that you are not sitting with an ordinary weaver. You are sitting with someone older than the workshop, older than the temple, older than the first sunrise painted on a wall. She lifts one thread between her fingers, and for a moment it is not thread anymore. It is a line of light stretched across darkness. Then another appears, then another. Above the loom, the air fills with shining strands, crossing and recrossing until they resemble stars, rivers, roads, veins, and destinies. She says, "Before the world was shaped, there was depth. The floor beneath you seems to become water, not dangerous water, not water that pulls you under, deep, dark, endless water, the primeval flood, the silence before names, the hidden place before light separated from darkness. And there she sits above it, still weaving. The same woman, the same hands, the same amulet. But now her crown is made of red light and gold. Crossed arrows gleam above her brow. Her collar shines like sunrise on temple stone. Her eyes hold the patience of the flood and the sharpness of an arrowhead. This is Neith, goddess of Sais, mistress of the bow, lady of weaving, ancient one before the gods were gathered into stories, mother of forms, guardian of thresholds. She does not rise dramatically. She does not need to. The room has already understood her. The loom hums. The threads glow. The bow behind her shines without being touched. Neith looks at you as if she has known every torn place in your life, every broken thread, every pattern you thought was ruined beyond repair. Then she says, "Do not fear the place where the thread broke." Her voice is gentle now. That is where the pattern may become visible. You breathe slowly, in, out. The dawn begins beyond the doorway. The blue of night softens into rose and gold. A palm tree appears in silhouette. Somewhere outside, a bird calls once, then twice, as if testing the morning. Neith lowers the finished cloth across her knees. It is not perfect way a machine would make it perfect. It is better than that. It has tension, memory, repair, and light. Every crossing matters. Every line belongs. She folds it carefully. The golden amulet at her throat glows one last time. And then, just as softly as she appeared, she becomes only a woman again, seated at a loom in a quiet Egyptian workshop, with lamp oil on the air and linen beneath her hands. But now you know. The weaver was never only a weaver. The thread was never only thread. And the silence before dawn was never empty. Ancient Egypt is full of surprises like that. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment to tell me if you fell asleep before the end.